This podcast is sponsored by Intentional Living magazine, your ultimate guide created to help infuse purpose and passion into your everyday life. From expert features that provide valuable insights to thought-provoking content that sparks transformation. This magazine and online platform is a perfect source of inspiration for those who truly believe in the power of intentional choices.
Welcome to episode 4 of Can We Just? And today, can we just explore about the term planting seeds and what that means in terms of personal development and wanting to help people change, but when they're not ready to, but we like to plant those seeds.
Calm yourself,
Can we just?
Can we just? So what we're going to talk about in this episode is how, as people that have walked the walk and learnt so many things that we know can really empower other people's lives, is that when they come to you a million years later to say that they found it, and we're like, what?
We've been talking about that for ages.
For years. So literally enjoy, and I hope you can resonate, and just know that wherever you are, wherever the seeds are being planted, it's perfectly the right time for you. So enjoy.
So can we just talk about...
Yeah, we can, whatever you want.
Oh, can we just talk about when people are ready to learn and listen, or to listen and learn? This has just stemmed from a conversation as we were sitting on the couch, thinking about what we can talk about, because we do talk about a lot of stuff. So can we just talk about your story of when someone in your family had a realisation and came to you with what they've learned, and it's something that you had been talking to them about for a very long time?
You just said two things. Yes, of course, I'd like to do that. No, you said when it's time to listen, and there's a difference between listening and hearing, right?
Go on.
And so I've been working on myself and personal development and self-awareness and expansion and alchemy and all of the things since 2017. Mm-hmm. And now I live in a house with my husband, who has been my husband for a long time. And
the lovely Marc.
My beautiful, beautiful social hand grenade, Marc. And Marc was diagnosed with ADHD at age 47, which was it wasn't a realisation, but it was a massive change for us, for the better. Mm-hmm. And we were talking about this while we've been in the studio as well. And I have been very aware of my well-being, my holistic well-being, and I've made massive changes in my life. And when you find something new and exciting that works for you, you're so excited about sharing it, and how amazing it's been, and how much your life has changed and your well-being's changed. And so you're sharing that with the people that are closest to you, and they look at you like you've got a knob growing out your head.
Like, what are you on
literally,
about?
I've got tits on ears or something, like, seriously? And I'm going like that. And then they look at you like that. And then like 5 years down the line, they come up to me and, have you seen this? Have you seen this about meditation? I'm like, oh my God, yeah. And I'm like, literally, and how do you embrace their excitement without punching them in the face? And going, I've been saying this, I'm you, like that. And go, yeah, and bless him. And he goes, I know you've been trying to tell me, but let me just be happy about it. I'm like that. Namaste, motherfucker. I'm like, literally, yes, I'm really happy for you, but you've wasted 5 years. But then I have to pull myself back to say, you've not wasted 5 years at all, because the realisation is that everyone learns at the right time for them.
Yeah.
And all we can do is plant the seeds, and we can't force it, but it doesn't make it any less frustrating, especially when we've got the answers. We are here as a 5 energy. Mm-hmm. The 5 energy in human design is all about save the day energy. We're all about creating solutions to make life better. And we can do it, and we know we can do it. So when you've got someone that is meant to be the closest person in the world on this planet to you,
and you're watching them every day,
and you're watching every day struggling, and you know you can help them, and it takes 5 years. Oh my God, it's wearing, isn't it?
The great thing is he is now
He's
on his
Dr.
own
Jodie Spencer
journey.
now. I love him. He's on, and he won't mind. He might be, and you know what? I absolutely love it because he is now experiencing what I experienced in the right time for him.
Yeah. So is he wanting to tell the world now?
Yeah.
And is he getting frustrated that some people are just not listening?
He's not getting frustrated yet because he's still very much in the now.
Yeah.
And because he's a generator like you, it's all about mastery. It's all about getting brilliant at what he does. So he's converted the garage into a meditation room.
That's
and
amazing.
So I know it's brilliant. And he's got the sound the gongs in there, and he's got the sage is blasting out in there.
Oh my God.
He's got we had a projector screen in there where the kids used to like watch shows, and that's got, he's signed up for Gaia. Oh wow! I mean, it literally is.
For anyone who doesn't know what Gaia is, that's like a personal development app, and you pay a monthly, yearly subscription. It's an amazing app, actually.
And but again, as well, I don't know whether it's an ADHD thing. Again, another label. But with Marc and me, really, we're all or nothing. So he's gone all in. And so, and I love it, and I'm embracing it, and I can see his well-being improving. Yeah. And he went, "Oh, can I work with you? Can we do what you're doing?" And I said, "Well, you can, absolutely, but you're going to need to do it like you're my client."
Yeah.
And so he is now on that 12-week journey, and he started that journey, and he won't mind me sharing it. Because he plans to share his journey once he's been through it. He started this journey at breaking point. So he is where I was in 2017. But he took on the role of provider and support system. And when I folded, he was there to support. So it's almost like role reversal. And in the space of 2 weeks, he's gone from being riddled in complete pain to just having an area of pain in his wrist. That's in 2 weeks. And that's just in changing mindset, changing, again, we talked about habit stacking before we came on live, about changing some of his habits. And it's been a 5-year journey. But we've been talking online for 5, 7, you've been on it 7 years. And just showing up every day, talking about what we talk about. Some people might think we're woo, but there's science behind all of it. And you will, if you're listening now and you're not on any kind of self-development journey yet, that journey's a bit wanky as well, isn't it? But it is. Then at the right time you will. And it's just about understanding that you are in exactly the right place for you right now.
And we're going to have people listening to this that are absolutely really satisfied and feeling at peace with their life. And, you know, if you are feeling that, then good on you. And you know what you want, who you are. Some people are lost. Some people are okay. A lot of people, I'd say probably about 90% of the planet are lost in this busy world and are not ready to listen or to open up to other ways of living or new meditations or new methods or, you know, just eating slightly better, because we are bombarded with a lot of consumerism, aren't we? And big brands selling, you know, brands that we know that just sell either crap food or crap stuff full of toxins and full of chemicals. But it is starting to turn. You can feel it. There's a lot more chemical-free or holistic things coming into play, which is another episode that we'll do around toxic load.
God, yeah. And again, but there's influential people and this society that we're in.
Yeah.
Like for Gracie, for example, literally a salesperson's dream. Whatever's on TikTok, whatever's on the news thing, she's bought that much skincare because somebody's recommended it and it's brilliant. Oh, what? And literally these influencers have got such a huge level of
influence.
They've got influence, but also there should also be a level of responsibility.
Yeah,
because our the personal care products that we use and all of the things we'll talk about in another episode, but it's really unregulated.
Yeah.
So we are marketed to from the minute we open our eyes in the morning, and for our kids and for in this social media life that we live in, it's constant. There's no off, right? So when I was trying to explain to Gracie, like when we were at school, we had a phone in the hall on a wire.
Yeah.
Ours was avocado with a dial that we had a lock on, so we didn't use it. So when we left school, we didn't see anyone until the next day. Whereas now, the kids are literally, they've got these micro stress points all the time. Ping, 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 ping. It's non-stop. And they're worn out. Their brains are tired. Their souls are tired before they've even hit their late teens. And so they're just bombarded with marketing literally morning, noon and night. And just being aware that certain things are not helpful to this body. And again, is understanding that the body is the place that we live. And we don't see ourselves as that. I mean, that is a new concept to people.
Yeah. And again, it's the same for me, because you see brands that you trust because they've always been there. But these brands are not doing any good for us, it could be food wise. And I know some brands are saying that they've changed their ingredients in food. However, it's still, some of the stuff is not good for us, but we're used to it and we're used to seeing it. So when we start talking about nutrition and healthier food and organically grown food, people are like, well, it's more expensive. And again, in the world that we're living in now, a lot of people seem to be suffering with the economic climate and loads of different things like that. And again, we'll go into all of this on different episodes. So, and I know I'm going off on one here, but it's how do we come back to knowing, just really, again, reconnecting to ourselves and really knowing what we want, which we'll always go back to. And when do we know when we're ready to listen? Because this whole podcast, this episode is about people being ready to listen. And it could be that you're listening to this episode now and go, actually, yeah, you're right. I am ready to listen. There could be things that I could improve in my life and I could feel better. Or you might already be on that journey. But just going back to what you said about Marc, and you've been telling him or been, educating him for 5 years, dropping and planting seeds, dropping hints. And then he comes to you and goes, oh my God, have you heard about this?
I know. And
you were like, oh my God, are you kidding me? I've been telling you this for ages. Didn't you say there was another incident like that with another family member?
Oh, my dad.
Yeah. So tell us about that one.
My dad's been sick all his life. My dad's had Crohn's disease from when he was like 21. And
what's Crohn's disease?
Crohn's disease is like a disease of the intestines.
Yeah.
So he has been on medication since he was 21. And literally, as science has developed, like he found out, because I forget that, I'm in my 50s now, I still feel like when I talk about my dad, I'm still 10. He'd been taking these drugs for so long, and actually he didn't really need them, because it was just a repeat prescription. And then the side effects of the drugs that he's been taking for his gut has had an impact on his nerves, and it's had an impact on his system, musculoskeletal system. He has neuropathy and he has osteoarthritis and all of those things because as a side effect of the medication. So with the gut, just got to be really sensitive. So Dad, like with alcohol, he'd literally be laid out for days because it irritated his stomach so much. So when I did my wellness journey, or started my wellness journey, I started taking some really fantastic supplements. And so I said to my dad, I want you to try these. And he said, oh, I can't take that muck. Can't bloody take that muck. And I said, Dad, all it is food. Because it is all, it's all food. And I said, just want you to try it. And you don't have to take loads of it. You don't have to take the same dose, but I just want you to try it. And ever since he's had them now, he only takes half a dose or maybe a quarter of a dose. And he's not had a flare-up of his Crohn's ever since he's taken them for the last few years.
So
he's taking the lifelong vitality supplements that you've started taking. But in them are certain oils, including frankincense, frankincense is such a powerful, powerful oil. Anyway, not long ago, my dad went, oh, bloody hell, Jules. Have you seen how good frankincense is? I was like that. Are you joking? I said, Dad, you've been taking it 3 years. Like that. And I went, I'm glad you noticed. Like that. And, but I just think, oh, God, love it. And I think like I've been talking about something called copaiba or copaiba, which is an oil from the Amazon rainforest, and it's tapped from the tree.
Yeah.
So they tap it, they bring the oil out of it, and they create the essential oil from that. And it contains the chemical constituent of something called beta-caryophyllene. And beta-caryophyllene has massive anti-inflammatory properties. And the beta-caryophyllene is a phytocannabinoid, which means it...
She's dead clever, by the way.
Dead clever. It attaches... so we have an endocannabinoid system. I see it like a little chart in my body. And it's got receptors on it. And the beta-caryophyllene attaches itself directly to the endocannabinoid receptors, and that supports the central nervous system. It calms the central nervous system. The impact of that also, it calms the mind, and it brings inflammation down, and obviously inflammation and pain go hand in hand. But copaiba or copaiba is not well known, because it's only well known because I'm an aromatherapist, right?
It.
But CBD is massively well known, because CBD and cannabis is like, oh, there's a buzzword there, and CBD is like, oh yeah, everything's great, and CBD is also a phytocannabinoid. Without the THC element, is a phytocannabinoid. The difference is that it is a secondary. It attaches itself as a secondary to the receptors. So if there's already something on that receptor, the cannabinoid, the cannabis can't link onto these receptors directly, so that it's not as effective, potentially, as something that's much cheaper and without the hype, right?
Yes.
But again, it's education.
Yeah.
So I gave Dad copaiba, and he said...
what do you keep saying? It? Copaiba?
Copaiba. I think that's what they do in the Amazon rainforest. It's called that. In Congleton, it's called copaiba. Right. And so I gave Dad copaiba. Yeah, I don't like the bloody taste of that. And he's like, no, it's really bad for my stomach. I went, okay, I've tried, planted the seed.
Yeah.
Next thing I find out, he's taking CBD oil. But his stomach's really bad. But because there's loads of noise...
There's the marketing.
The marketing is... He's tried that. And so he said what he's going to do now, because I've had the conversation again, is that when he's run out of this, he's going to swap.
He's going to try copaiba.
Copaiba. Yeah. And when you've taken copaiba, then your body's so loose and you're so relaxed and the pain goes. And there's so many studies, like even with like Parkinson's disease, like someone's massaged, you can see it on YouTube, literally someone's massaged copaiba into the hands and the shaking stops.
Yeah.
I mean, there's powerful plant medicines.
I've seen that with the CBD, but that'd be interesting then to see the copaiba story about that. And we will talk about a aromatherapy episode, and you can educate people on that and point them in some directions of where they can look.
Let me just say, I'm not dissing CBD at all. Because I think it's absolutely got its place. What I will say is it's unregulated. So make sure the version that you're buying, you know exactly what its provenance is, where it's come from. Make sure it's decent stuff, because anything that's processed is losing its natural stuff, isn't it? In some way. So, but like CBD, cancer, all of those things, I know we try and keep away from cancer because people go, oh, we don't talk about it's. We're not saying it's curing. We're talking about supporting this shell holistically, and we're doing it from a position of proactive support of your body rather than reactively responding to the symptoms. And when we talked about people being ready, it's not thinking you're ready. And this is what you do really brilliantly, is we ask people to drop out of the head and into the body. And when we stop being in the head and actually and this is what you do amazingly, Claire, is that you bring people into the body. And the body scan that you do, and maybe you could do that, is actually going through and feeling, right, what doesn't feel right, or what's tight.
What feels tight.
What feels tight,
Yeah.
what feels uncomfortable. And like, right, well, like I've said to you all week, my neck's been really tight, but I've been away and I've not slept in my own bed and all the rest of it. And then last night I went for a cold water swim and did like 40 minutes of really fantastic breath work. And this morning my body's freer.
Mm-hmm.
But we walk
So
what we
powerful.
talk, don't we?
Yes.
And so we only know what we know.
Because we practice it.
But we didn't know any of this 7 years ago.
No.
So, and again, it's the timing. So we can plant seeds, but we have to walk the talk.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we do. And we're not saying we're perfect.
Oh my God, no. There's days when we forget to do that and we remind each other.
Seriously?
What have you done today that's going to bring your body peace or
and
joy? Because we get lost in the masculine and the doing again. And that's part of what I do. But it's that daily reminder, and we're not saying, oh, we do everything well. We don't, but we want to practice what we preach and we want to walk the walk.
So tell me about, there's two stories. There's one I remember that telling me about your dad and Reiki.
Oh,
And
yes.
there's also a story about Marc.
Yeah.
And again about the fact that even now the family goes, what is it you do?
Yeah. And they pull a face. I don't get what you do, so I don't really talk about what I do to people who don't want to know. And I'm okay with that. I used to get really upset and go, oh, Myers-Briggs, or been on this new course, or NLP, or yoga and meditation. And it's like, you can see some people go, oh, and now it's like, let's see what the reaction is. And if they ask more questions, then I'll give it to them. If people don't ask questions or they pull a face, and again, it's fine. They don't want to listen. That's fine. I'll just stop. I'll literally just stop and we'll carry on with a normal conversation.
Which is such a shame. But yeah.
Which is a shame. However, I am quite in tune for when people are ready to hear more. And again, this conversation might trigger people, and I hope it triggers them in a good way. And if you don't want to listen, it's absolutely fine. You don't have to like and subscribe. But yeah, going back to
whatevs.
Going back to, especially because I'm from Liverpool, and in Liverpool, a lot of the guys and men in Liverpool are tough guys. You're brought up to not speak about how you feel. You just get on with stuff. You fight with your fists. I don't want to generalise that, but most of the guys that I grew up with, and especially my dad, Marc, very, good guys with a heart girl, masculine energy, do anything for anyone, but they don't show their weaknesses and they don't talk about how they feel. So my dad was brought up in Huyton, also known as Two Dogs Fighting. If you're from Liverpool, Huyton, Two Dogs Fighting.
Where did we drive through today? And you said, this is called
Norris Green, but I think it's called, if you're from Norris Green, you're called a Nogger Dogger. Or you're from Nogsy or something.
I love it.
I'm a bit out of touch. It might, but it's something like that. But my dad's from Two Dogs Fighting, and he's 74, this year, and he grew up, on a council estate, as many of us are, and most of his family didn't work, and he met me mum when he was 17, I think, at a wedding, and him and my mum obviously fell in love. They went and got jobs and bought a house. And to his family, they were like, "You've left the family. You've gone to work. What are you doing? You're leaving what we're all about." Because what they were used to was living on benefits and living in the council estate, and that was their life. And that was their life. And my dad was seen as the black sheep to go, You've left us. Who do you think you are, going to get a job and falling in love with someone type of thing? And he was one of many brothers, and he had one sister. And so, but he had a hard childhood. He did. I'm not going to go into that, but as many people do, they had a tough childhood. And so as he grew older and he worked in the building site, had his own business, constant labour, constant distraction to the body. he ended up having to get 2 knee replacements at the age of 66, I think it was. He was still working and he couldn't work because his knees were collapsing and his legs were getting shorter. So he was forced. He literally was forced by his knees to stop working because he still would have gone in on his knees. And he had 2 knee replacements. And in that time, because he couldn't work, he didn't know what to do with himself because his body was that much in autopilot. It couldn't move, it couldn't rest. And it was like, Dad, it's time to rest and it's time to sit and just be and rest. You don't need to keep serving. And he didn't know how to. So he lost a lot of weight and he had to sit with himself. He had to sit with his thoughts. And
I love what you say. You need to sit in the mud.
Yeah, just sit in the shit, sit in the mud and just sit with yourself. And it's okay to stay in the mud because I'll come and sit in the mud with you. So my mum was worried about him. He went really withdrawn and quiet. He lost a lot of weight and he was a big, strong man. My dad, he's like a big bear. Everyone knows Joe. And he comes in and he fixes things and he pulls tree stumps out of the ground when people, just dead strong. And so he was dead sad because he did go down and it was so sad seeing my dad be a former shadow of himself, as you say. And it was like, we're desperate. What can we do to help him? So my mum found a beautiful woman called Lorraine, who's a Reiki master. And she said, I've got this woman coming in to see him. So she told me, Dad, he went, you can F off. I am not having some woman do this spell thing on me because I don't need it. I don't need it. So Lorraine came and she came to my mum's house and she spent about 2 hours with my dad. My dad, with Reiki, for anyone that doesn't know what it is, it's like it's an energy.
Life force energy.
Yeah, it's life force energy. You don't actually, depending on what type of Reiki it is, the energy that Lorraine does, it's about, you don't actually touch the person. You just hover your hands in certain areas and the energy will go where it needs to go to unblock that trauma in the body. So it's an energy healing method and it's absolutely amazing. And I didn't know what it was at the time. So you're going back about 10 years ago. And my dad came out of that session like a different man after 2 hours. And he couldn't speak. It was quite emotional. He was like, I don't want to speak. He said, but I feel better. I feel lighter and I feel warm. And so that was his journey of actually some of this stuff does work. And he started opening up and talking more about how he felt and not going into loads of detail, but just more open. And I was like, oh my God, I mean, if that absolutely works because that was done to someone who's so skeptical. Yeah. If that works, I want a bit of that. I want to try that. So then I went and had some Reiki and that helped me really open up and understand that I definitely had blockages and I thought I was absolutely fine. I'm always one of those people, I'm fine. And then once I opened up, I couldn't stop crying. And that, again, was a good thing because it was emotions coming out that needed to be released. So when I discovered that was huge. And so I became a Reiki healer, level 2, not Reiki master. And I obviously...
A label.
I'm not good enough to be a Reiki master in my head. Oh, God. So that's what I'm saying to myself. So we use Reiki and we use energy healing in some of the modalities that we use. I mean, it's not for everyone. So we don't use it for everyone unless they're ready for it. So...
I'm Reiki tuned as well, but I don't use it. It's not something that you use it and you're brilliant at it, but again, it's...
The method and the system. But we're all energy and we can all help to heal ourselves, can't we? Because our meditation helps with that and yoga. There's so many things out there. So that for me got me to I was like, oh my God, right now, all of the stuff I've been going on about, my dad's had Reiki, he's opened up to some things now, brilliant. And then, so when I became a Reiki healer, I started, family and friends are coming to me as part of the training and they're like, oh my God, this is amazing. You don't have to say or do anything. You literally just hover and they can feel lighter. They feel like something's being released and it's an amazing method. But Marc, my husband, who is another, we don't talk about feelings and we don't we don't talk about our feelings. No, we do now because 10 years ago we went through a big life-changing event, which again is another story. But he came to me when he was in a bad place and he said, I think I need your help because I know that you have the tools to help me. And I said, I can't help you with this because I'm too involved emotionally. But here's it was, oh God, what was it called? The Chimp Paradox.
Yeah, the book.
Yeah, I threw that at him. I went, read that. Slung it at him and it's like, go and read that. And he came back and he went, oh my God, I'm only halfway through. And he said something has clicked, and he got it. And he did start talking about his emotions and how he feels and the impact of me on him and the kids. So that was amazing because that really opened him up. So he's open and he's on his own journey. And I love that. And he listens a lot to the Joe Rogan podcasts, and he started listening to loads of other really inspirational, educational podcasts. And the last few months, there's been quite a lot of people on Joe Rogan's podcast that talk about what we talk about. And he come in to me the other day and he went, there's a woman on Joe Rogan's podcast talking about the neuroscience and spirituality piece of meditation. He said it's really interesting. And you know, when you're just sitting there going,
the book him.
Are you
messing?
I was like,
you messing up?
And he went, and I know it's something to do with what you do. And I went, yeah, Mark, I actually have got a best-selling best-selling author #1 book there about the neuroscience of yoga and meditation. And he said, I know. And so it's just, again, he's ready to listen.
Yeah.
I think there's little seeds that I've sown along the way, and I gently drop in the human design piece, and we've used the human design to help us understand our kids.
Yeah,
and he is embracing that now because he's seen how I've implemented the human design. My daughter Daniela, I've been looking at her human design because she's just gone into secondary school and she's had like a really tough year. Like many children, a lot of children at the moment are suffering with social anxiety from lockdown and getting back into life. So she had obviously hormonal at the age of 12, and she had this social anxiety piece that me just showing Marc her design and how she is has helped us parent her the way that she needed, rather than she should do this and she should just go into school and she should just, be part of the in crowd. And I'm like, that's not who she is. Let her be who she is and let her discover who she is so that she becomes a more resilient, strong adult when she grows up. Because if we try and shove her in a box to fit in with the typical, and again, there's groups of people that all fit in, but it's like, just allow for that individuality. And so he has embraced human design as a parent, because when I talk about it just in talk, and he goes, oh, human design, here we go again. But he sees how that's helped us understand our kids and how to understand me a bit more and my crazy open head centre, which is a good thing. I'm not saying that.
I can completely resonate with that as well, because looking at Gracie's human design, because she's so different to Alf. Alf's our eldest, as you know, but they're very, very different. And when we looked at the human design, I've got one manifesting generator and I've got one manifester, completely different. I've got a 1-3 and I've got a 4-6. So that might not mean anything to anyone, but it means that they're completely different. And so what's right for one isn't right for the other. And this is why the individuality piece that we talk about is so, so important. So if you've got children that you feel are struggling or that they're not fitting in, do you know what? They might not be designed that way, and that's okay. But not knowing how to help them because the system isn't ready to help them, although it's something that we're really passionate about, again, planting seeds. And we've got introductions into education trusts now and universities to go and talk about this stuff and the Life Freedom Method and how we integrate human design and the alchemy and the embodiment of it into education so that it filters through then into the working world. But just by understanding those nuances and allowing them the freedom to be who they are just makes such a massive difference, doesn't it?
And I think there might be some people listening to this going, oh, kids are kids and they need to be disciplined. And It's yes, there's if your child is in danger and you want them to stay safe, then obviously you will show them the way and you'll help them. But sometimes by you trying to push them down a hole or into, disciplining them to the point of where you're stifling them and you're pushing them down to not be who they're meant to be, then that's not parenting either. And by the way, we are not perfect parents. We are on a journey. And it's about, please don't. That's one thing before we finish. It's just popped into my head. I love the way you talk about.
Is that a download?
It was a download, yeah. It's a download. It could just be
an idea for me. Download for you.
But the way you talk about the way we were brought up. Your mum and dad, 1940s, like my mum and dad, 1940s, and the way they were brought up is completely different to the kids of 2023. So we bring in traditional pieces and we carry on trying to parent the way our parents parented us, but that doesn't work in today's society. So it's about really understanding them again as individuals and being on the journey with them, not trying, being alongside with them instead of opposing them and pushing them back.
That's so right, so true.
So sit alongside with them.
Best way. Well, for me, it's been the best way to literally walk beside them, but allow them that space to,
and give them guidance when they do end up messing it up, and
but don't beat them with it. It's just a different way. And even my mum said to me the other day, she went, Jules, I don't know how you do it, because being a parent's hard enough. Being a parent now, because if you think about us, our life was very, very simple in many ways, like really, really simple. And now everything is like just so fast paced, so busy. There's just so much stuff. Mm-hmm. Everything's about stuff. Yeah. And actually, we were probably the last generation that went to play out. In the summer holidays, we were never at home. We went off on our bikes and on our adventures. We couldn't do that now. So, yeah, I think there's a big change. But it's, again, walk beside them, guide them, empower them, though, to be the person that they are, the person that they were born to be, the person that they were born to have all these experiences, rather than just being shoehorned into what society expects.
And again, can we just bring that back to planting the seeds? Because we're planting the seeds with our children, letting them understand themselves a bit more. They may not be ready, but it's there. And when they're ready to learn, they'll come in a couple of years and go, Mum, I've just been listening to such a podcast and you'll never guess what. And we'll go, yeah, I've been telling you about that for frigging years.
Yeah. And also, I've got my kids are now saying, oh, Mum, could you speak to my friend?
Yeah.
Could you do some work with my friend because he's really struggling?
Yeah.
Or is there an oil that you can recommend for anxiety that I can help my friend with? So we know it's going in. Yeah. It's just, we're not just driving it in, it's just a way of life for us.
Yeah, yeah.
So can we just say thank you?
Yes. I like that. I enjoyed that one.
Did you? Mm-hmm. Smashing. So can we just say thank you for joining us? And if you enjoyed it,
like and subscribe.
I can't even speak.
And we'll post what we've talked about in the show notes. We'll put the frankincense
loads of
details and the oils in there. And again, the notes to our website, spaceandfreedom.com. So it's love and light from me.
And it's Gerard from me.